morning, John. It's Wednesday. So, like the first video so much, I decided we'd go ahead and do another one of these things. I hope you don't mind too much. So, again, driving, again, commuting. Different route this time, or at least for the beginning part of things. So, anybody who is a vlogger, blogger, or, well, on Facebook or Twitter in the United States, or probably in the world unless they live in a cave, is probably thoroughly aware right now of the government shutdown. Specifically, the U.S. government's complete inability to effectively get its shit together. As you can tell, I've got a couple of opinions on this, much as most people do. One of my favorite quotes, by the way: opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one and most of them stink. But I'm going to share mine, opinion, don't worry. So basically what we've got is a situation in which our government has very specific jobs which are given to very specific people, and then they complain that those people aren't doing everyone else's job in this case. So a lot of people don't really understand how the U.S. budget works, but here's what it boils down to. You've got the President and Congress. Now, Congress passes resolutions. Well, okay, they're supposed to pass resolutions. Whether or not that actually occurs is something entirely different. But Congress is supposed to pass resolutions stating exactly what government agencies and institutions will get what amount of money. And then they pass a bill which states how much tax will be collected. They then hand this off to the president. Now, he has to collect that amount of tax, and he has to pay those bills. He doesn't have an option in either case. The bills that they have resolved must be paid, and the taxes that they have said can be collected must be collected. No more, no less. That's all there is to it. It's actually a pretty basic system. Now, the problem arises in that when Congress invariably passes a bill which says that they have to, that says that the president must spend more money than he takes in, he has to do that. He is required by law to do that. Well, okay, he can deny that bill. He can veto that and say, no, that's not a budget that I'm willing to work with. But that's kind of a last-ditch measure as far as he's concerned. I mean, it's basically him saying, no, I'm not going to do that, John. So, if they tell him that he has to spend more money than he collects, in most countries, that includes, and a lot of countries do work in a similar way, and in most countries, if they tell him to spend more money than he collects, that includes an agreement that he's going to just have to increase the deficit by however much money he's going to need to increase the deficit by. Not in America. In America, he has to then go back and say, hey, so I'm spending all this money you told me to spend, and I can only collect as much as you told me to collect, so I have to increase the deficit. And that's what happened. He went back to Congress and said, hey, you told me to spend more money than I collected, so I'm going to have to increase our deficit. And Congress said, no! What? How dare you? You are driving this country into financial ruin! I got nothing. I mean, I'd like to try and make it funny, but I can't. It's mind-boggling. You have to spend this money, and you can collect these taxes. How dare you spend that much money, Mr. President, if that is what you call yourself? Bullshit. Absolute fucking horse shit. I'm sorry. It's just angering to a massive degree. It's stupid. So then they get their acts together and they pass a budget. Oh, and by the way, every time they fail to set a budget that they are willing to then sign off on, they have to pass it, but then they have to be willing to sign off on it. It's idiotic. But when they do that, they have to sign an extension that says that, okay, well, we'll keep working as we were working last year, or last time this was signed off, right? We'll keep working that way for a while. We'll just keep on keeping on the way we've been doing, and just roll with the new. Yeah, we'll let it go for a little while longer, and then we'll take it from there. We'll try to get our heads out of our asses, basically. We'll try to pull our heads out of our asses long enough to come up with something that we can actually work with, i.e. do our jobs. So, when the most recent one was prepared to be sent off, oh yeah, and this should look familiar by this point. Now I'm on I-5. Anyway. So, when the most recent one was up to basically, just to do a continuation, the House Republicans decided to add a little piece of code, basically. Just a little blurb at the end that said, oh yeah, so we'll do a continuation and repeal the Affordable Care Act. Or the smartest piece of rebranding Republicans ever did, calling it Obamacare. Fuck you. It's socialized healthcare, and that's not a bad thing. I'm sorry. If anybody is watching this besides John, and you think that socialized healthcare is a bad thing, fine. Move. Get out. Go to any other first world country that doesn't have socialized healthcare. Oh wait, there isn't one. Seriously, you want to move to a country that doesn't have socialized healthcare? You're looking under Cuba on the economic scale. It's something that the rest of the world has had together for a long time, and that we are finally trying to catch up on. I still think we should go to a single-payer system, but whatever. So anyway, so they included this little blurb saying that, okay, well, we'll pass a continuation. We'll let the government continue to function a little while longer and defund Obamacare. And Obama was like, excuse me, what? No, I'm not going to do that. I am not going to shut down the single most important piece of legislation that has happened in this country in over 50 years. Just no. I'm not going to work with that budget. It's not going to happen. Flat out. And now the House Republicans, or all the Republicans, and the Tea Party, and all these people who read Ayn Rand and didn't think it was a prophecy of doom written by an idiot, decided that, oh, well, now we can blame the president. It's the president's fault that everything's shutting down. How dare he not do his job? Well, I guess the government's going to have to go into a shutdown, and all these people aren't going to get paid, and all of these things aren't going to happen. Yeah, by the way, I hope you didn't have a vacation planned in Yosemite or Yellowstone National Park or the Grand Canyon during this time frame, because no matter if you've been planning it for 2.5 years, too bad. You don't get to go. Have fun staying at home or driving out there and not getting let into the park because they're closed. But not only are they going to shut down the government, not only are they going to shut down all but the most essential services that our nation provides, oh, you better believe damn sure that they made 100% certain they're getting paid. That's something that not a lot of people realize on this. Every one of our senators makes roundabout $250,000 a year for being a senator. And that pay is for life. After you are elected as a U.S. senator, you make about $250,000 a year for the rest of your life. And they're still getting that. Oh yeah. Oh, because they're essential. No matter if they can't, come together to decide on passing the resolution bill to turn a fire hose on Congress when Congress is on fire. Nope, doesn't matter. They're still getting paid because they're essential. Well, John, sorry for the, angry rant about these things, but frankly, I think amongst everybody in the U.S., this is probably what's on most of our minds today. So, I apologize, but hopefully Friday, and I am going to do this again Friday, hopefully Friday's video will be a little more pleasant. Have a great afternoon. See you on Friday.